loser. Come on, Pops. Let's go.
No! Now you listen here, nigga.
He thinks if your character's physical, they lose by default. If your character's not physical, then good luck, nigga. You won.
If the character, what? Okay.
Yes, if your character is inherently physical, then your character loses. That's it.
If my character,
I can buy honeybees.
It means they loses.
Yes, if your character is physical.
Okay, I don't know how you're ever gonna justify that, but I'll send my argument in chat.
That's why.
So he has infinite strength, infinite speed, and infinite IQ. So he has infinite IQ. There's no limit to his knowledge or intelligence, so he knows the way to beat your character.
Amazing.
And obviously, since he has infinite speed and infinite strength, he's physically capable of executing the IQ.
Hold up, he has infinite intelligence.
Yep.
So he can process infinite intelligence, correct? He can process infinite amount of knowledge.
Yeah, this nigga shit.
I don't know. I don't really know what you mean by.
So do you think his mind is material?
You said what?
Do you think his mind is material?
I think every mind is material.
That's not what I was asking. Do you think his mind?
Bro,
is material?
that's indirectly answering your question. Bro.
Okay, so if his mind is inherently material, then it must take up. It must be within space, correct?
Yeah, infinite space can exist.
Okay, that's not what I asked. I was asking, do you think the character's mind takes up space?
Sure, bro. Oh my
okay,
God.
do you think his mind is infinite?
You said what?
Do you think his mind is infinite in size?
You said, yeah, sure, bro.
Okay, can you go ahead and prove that?
It's self-evident because this guy says he has infinite IQ.
Okay, yeah. That's what's in question right now. I'm putting into question if this is true.
Are you asking why him having infinite IQ is true?
Hold up. Yeah. I'm putting into question if he can actually have infinite IQ because we clearly see that he has this.
So the scan again one more time. The scan says it and proves what I just said, bro.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm putting into question. You're not letting me finish. You're not letting me finish.
Itself, or are you like what are you doing? I'm confused.
What I'm putting into question is if the stats are true, because inherently, if you have infinite intelligence, as in you have non-ending intelligence, you have every single piece of
okay, I heard the argument, bro. You're asking why it's true.
I wasn't done, but okay.
I heard argument.
Yeah, you would inherently have to.
Okay, so the reason it's not false or is failable, in my opinion, that's how I consider something to be false conviction, is because it's a third person account of the character. What I mean by that is that it's not like someone giving a first person account or just saying, or like just making the claim that, well, I have this ability, which is infinite IQ. Rather, it's something that's telling us something about reality. Like, for example, imagine an author or a narrator saying, you went to the store. And then let's say the first person account is that I'm hungry. Now, the third person is supposed to just simulate what you just said, but it directly explains how you're just moving in the narrative. Obviously, this isn't a first person account because it's something telling us something about the character. So it would have to be a narrative statement. And we take narrative statements to be true because they make truth claims about the fiction itself.
Okay, so narratives aren't actually absolute within a story. I don't know why you would believe that. Can you let me finish? Like, I let you finish.
My fault, bro.
So when I say narratives aren't absolute, I mean like they aren't the absolute justifier for something within the story. For example, something like narrative in Dragon Ball is that Goku has infinite strength, right? Him finitely growing and having finite.
What do you think a narrative is?
I think a narrative is a story.
Okay, I think we're talking about two different things, bro.
Okay, what do you define narrative as?
No, because narrative is okay. When I talk about narrative, it's using the argument, but that's not what I'm basing the truth there off of. I'm saying that the truth is determined by the truth makers, which is the author and the narrator. Obviously, if the narrative of Dragon Ball is
asking you what the narrative is.
Yeah, okay. A narrative is a story, brother, but that's irrelevant to what I'm mainly arguing.
Huh?
That's not what I'm mainly arguing. What I'm arguing is that a narrator is the truth maker of the narrative itself.
I'm gonna breathe like that.
Just for the recording. I don't know if I asked him what a narrative was because he said that's not what a narrative is, and then he just
No,
agreed to
bro.
the fact that a narrative is a story.
I said that's
Anyways,
not what a narrator is, bro.
a narrator or a narrative?
A narrator, bro. I'm not talking about
Okay,
narratives, bro.
you quite literally began this debate. It began with this debate by saying, "Yeah, this is the narrative."
No, I didn't say that, bro. I said it's a narrative statement
You can
verbatim,
look
bro.
back on rec later, but you
It doesn't even matter. We
Well,
don't
y'all
have
don't
to.
need to meta debate
definitely.
this. Like, there's a
Yeah,
new
yeah,
understanding. Somebody had a misconception. Let's just keep
yeah,
pushing.
exactly. We don't gotta go back in the recording,
So
bro.
yes,
But
so yes,
but to get that, but to get the point clear, I'm just saying it's a narrative statement, not a narrative. I don't know what that means, bro. But
narrator statements are part of the story. So
yes,
it would be part of the
but they make
narrative.
truth claims about the story. If we just don't accept narrative statements, then there's just no story because they're supposed
Yeah,
to
the
explain what the story is
problem with
and explain what
that.
truth is in the story.
I mean, yeah, I agree to that. I agree that it is the
What?
intention for this character. Oh, yeah, I agree to the fact that this is the intention for the character, but within actuality, I don't think this is possible because this is
What?
a very
What does that even mean? Actuality is what does that mean?
actuality is just something happening within actualization.
Okay, okay? Does the scan not actually say the character has infinite IQ, bro?
Yes, I agree. This is the intention,
Oh
but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not actually.
That's what they're actually saying. I don't know what you mean by attention, but abductively, they're
Oh my
probably just
god.
saying the character has infinite intelligence, bro. Just
Yeah,
due to
the
the fact
problem
that we
with
have
that
it,
is that
just due to the fact that we have an infinity symbol next to the word intelligence, bro.
yeah, I I once again agree to the fact that this is the intention to make this character have infinite intelligence. I'm saying it's an inherent contradiction.
Wait, okay, where is the contradiction?
Okay, the fact that his mind is inherently material and finite. The fact
Okay,
that you
what's
have
the
a finite mind. Yeah, the
what?
fact that you
Okay,
have a
what do you mean by a finite mind? Okay, how are you proving he
as
has a
in his
finite mind?
as in his brain is not infinite in size.
Well, okay, it obviously it can be infinite in size, bro. I don't see the
Okay, can you go
contradiction
ahead
there.
and prove that?
Okay, do you think him having infinite IQ is like what's the word I'm looking for? Like bi conditional to the idea that he needs to have an infinite size mind?
That's what's in question right now. So I do not agree.
Well, if he has an infinite size mind, he would have to have an infinite size. My fault. Infinite size IQ. He'd have to have an infinite size brain, bro.
Yes.
So him having infinite IQ directly implies he has an infinite size mind.
Yeah, but that's what's in question right now.
Oh! I just gave the proof for why he has an infinite size fucking mind, bro.
Are you like trolling, Careless?
Bro, I'm not trolling.
Okay, the fact that he has infinite hold on. The fact that he has an infinite sized mind is what's in question right now because I do not believe he has infinite intelligence. And you just
Okay,
said
okay, wait. So
you
okay,
said
so again, we're back to
hold on.
square
I wasn't
one.
done. I wasn't done. Just for the recording. Everyone here I heard you. You were saying that what proves that he has an infinite sized mind is that he has infinite intelligence. What I put into question is if he has infinite intelligence because we cannot justify the fact that he has an infinite sized mind, and the fact that his brain takes up space.
Can we get
in-
okay? Let's get into the infinite mind point one more time. What's a good way to interpret this? Let me think. You don't think what's a good way to apply this? You don't think there's like different mental states in the brain? I'm gonna give a different approach to this point.
like
There can exist different mental states. Like for example, intelligence can be linked to your ability to solve problems, and then like let's say for example, there's like a section of the mind that says emotions in it.
no, it's what's the
Yeah,
brain.
there's like different parts of the mind, bro. Like obviously you're
There's different there's different processors.
yeah, exactly. There's different processors. So by definition, the part of the mind that enables emotions is different than the part of the mind that enables IQ. So
What do you think IQ is?
the ability to use knowledge and then learn new things, I guess apply it.
Use So do you think emotions aren't an extension of knowledge?
No,
What?
at least under my own semantics, no, I don't. No, I don't think that's the same thing. Because your intelligence or your IQ is the way you map your knowledge onto reality. The emotions you have is just the way you like feel, which isn't the same as you using your knowledge to solve a problem.
Yeah, but inherently emotions, allow you to produce that knowledge or use that knowledge in a certain way because
No,
it is
no,
simply the way you feel, correct?
No, yeah, no, it's the way you feel, but you're not solving a problem by the way you feel, bro.
You're not solving a problem by the way you feel.
Yeah, like
To
for
use that
example,
said
when I
knowledge,
feel
you
like, can I
inherently
give you
have
an
to
example so you can
feel.
understand the argument? Like for example, let's say someone knocks my cup over. I get sad because I lost my juice. That isn't the same as you solving a two plus two problem.
That's
So that means that
analogous.
so what this argument means is that there can exist finite sections of the mind, but there can be infinite, I guess, like parts of the mind, if that makes sense. Like there can be like a
Okay, so you think the
specific
mind is
section that's
immaterial then?
infinite. You said what?
So you think the mind is immaterial then?
No, no, the mind, the mind doesn't have to be. That's not what immaterial means, bro.
Immaterialism is just not being encompassed within, or not being perceived by the human eye, or not being perceived by a human.
Okay, that's not what immaterial means, bro.
Gravity is literally immaterial.
No, it's not. If that's what you consider an immaterial thing to mean, that's fine, but that doesn't attack what I. Do you want to conclude?
Yeah, I don't think you addressed what I said.
Okay, then I guess we can conclude, bro.
All right.
Can we have someone judge the point?
Yeah. We can have either Brawley or Shards. I believe they were here.
I don't think, bro. Was anybody listening?
I believe Shards was.
Yeah,
And Brawley was here the entire time.
I was listening to bits and pieces, but not the entire thing. There's parts where I got bored.
Oh, okay. Anybody?
I heard the sections point, the immaterial point, the narrative point, but I think that was irrelevant.
Yeah, the section point is I guess like what would decide who won. I guess I don't know because you think it's a contradiction.
What I think is a contradiction is that him having an infinite amount of knowledge. Not that there's
right
sections
argument,
of
by
the
the way.
mind.
So I would be very surprised.
Because if you believe there are sections of the mind is entirely still immaterial, which you agree to.
No, it's not. Okay, listen, look, bro. As long as the definition doesn't go against what I already established in the debate, I don't care what you think the mind is, bro. Because you aren't even explaining a contradiction. You just have like a weird definition.
A finite brain cannot condense infinite knowledge. That was
again. I already gave an argument for why they could. Can we get a verdict?
You said I did.
I bet. Tokyo, can you conclude first?
Yeah, sure. So pretty much the debate started by him sending the scan, implying that he has infinite intelligence and speed and strength. I said that is an inherent contradiction because I believe brain takes up.
Sorry to cut you off.
It's alright.
Carlos, is this how you define an IQ, like intelligence?
Or
what does the scan say? I haven't seen that shit. This is infinite IQ or infinite intelligence.
It says infinite. It's infinite intelligence, but I kind of define IQ and intelligence the same.
Well, I was gonna say that then intelligence is important, and is it important? You can go ahead. What's the guy? Not intelligence, IQ.
Okay. After that, we go on to the fact that like I disagree with the fact that you can have a finite mind and have infinite knowledge because that is inherently a contradiction. And he says, I don't know how exactly. I don't know exactly what he says in response.
Okay. All right, wait, chill. Then I'm gonna just ask Carlos right now. What did you say, Carlos?
It's two responses, but the first response was that because I thought he was trying to say that you need like an infinite sized mind to have infinite intelligence or some dumb stuff. So I told him that maybe he's trying to say it's like some sort of like biconditional that you need this for that or you need this for like that for this, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
and then I tell him that if I prove that he has the infinite IQ, and I just think that would just by virtue prove he has the infinite mind. So even if we my fault, go ahead.
No, I get what you're trying to say. Tokyo, you can go ahead.
Yeah, so in response to that, I say, well, yeah, the point that's in question right now is if he has infinite intelligence. You presupposing that he has infinite intelligence is that it's just basic question begging. And in response, I also said, yeah, the mind also does take up finite space, and I don't think he attacked that.
The mind does take up finite space.
What?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's talking about the.
Okay, so I ain't gonna lie. It just sounds like I disagree, and I disagree. Carlos, what did you do to prove that the statement is true?
Can y'all hear me?
Wait, Tokyo.
Yo.
Did you say his point was wrong because it was a contradiction, or did you put it into question?
Okay, so I said it's a contradiction at first, and then
Well,
to
I'm lagging.
Okay,
oh
calm
yeah,
down, Careless.
Yeah,
Well, look, I ain't gonna. I'm gonna just say it like this: if you say it's wrong because it's a contradiction, then you lost. If you put it into question, then nigga, y'all just disagreeing. But y'all can't like, did y'all end the debate, nigga? Like, just,
Yeah, they're concluding right now.
bro.
yeah. I didn't
What
get the
was
scale.
the?
Because right now, yeah, they're concluding Careless is scaling right now.
all right. Can I
Okay, wait. What did you say in response specifically to it being justified that it's not a finite bound because of the skin being infinite, or talking about infinite?
That's why they're about to. That's why I asked them what was his justification because they did went over some narrator shit on why narrator statements would automatically be true, some shit like that.
God.
Over. Careless, how did you justify the statement was true? Because I know I did remember Tokyo putting that in the question
yeah.
as well.
So I explained to them how like a first person account is like let's say for example, right? Let's say I'm in a story.
What?
I say I am God. Obviously,
What?
like that doesn't mean it's true. Like it doesn't mean it's like true to the actual story
What?
itself, but it's true to your own thoughts.
Shut
Then
your
I
bitch
told him
ass
What?
up
that
and let her
Okay.
a
finish.
third, bro.
Exactly, Joe.
I told him a third person account is like, let's say it's like one of the parts of the
What?
story where the author or the narrator tells us what the characters in
What?
the story are doing,
Bro, Infinity,
or
chill.
or explains what they're doing in the story, and then like we should take those to be true because they're just telling us they're making true claims about the story itself and not making true claims about what the character thinks. And obviously, I just made an abduction. I said that, well, the scan is showing that they're literally doing that. They're not making a statement about the character's internal thoughts. They're just telling us what is a part of the story and what goes on in the story.
Okay,
So
your
then,
response.
So I think I said oh yeah. So I brought up intentionality. Actually, I don't think anything with the. I think anything with an intention could be or the fucking author could have the intention for this to be the case, but it not being actualized within the actual fiction, via it being contradicted by the actual story or it being just a very blatant P and not P. I
what
brought
was
up
he
the
saying?
example. Oh, yeah.
Wait,
So
chill.
I brought up the example of Dragon Ball. Goku
Okay,
in
no.
one.
What was your correlation to this? To whatever the fuck he's using.
Okay. Yeah, so pretty much I'm just saying that it's a very blatant contradiction. If there's a contradiction, then
Yeah, where's the contradiction? That's what I'm asking for.
okay. That's what we were talking about earlier with the
Y'all
fucking
concluded. Did you point out the contradiction? If not, then Careless one.
I did.
And if you pointed out a contradiction that Careless already addressed, then Careless one.
I don't think Careless addressed it or defeated it.
What was the contradiction you pointed out?
Him having a finite mind or finite finite
I
his mind.
already addressed that, bro. I even addressed it with the
So
second point too.
didn't he just say his mind would just take up infinite space?
Yeah, I never think he proved that.
I proved that,
Did
bro.
you question that?
Yeah.
It's just
That's
going
fine.
forever on circular, bro. I already
Like,
proved that.
he's
And I
like
also
this shit
gave a
going on.
second argument which you did not respond to.
What was the second argument, bro?
It was
I'm telling you.
it was some point about like mental states. So I
What?
got him
Oh
to
yeah, these niggas are talking about. He's saying the mind is broken into parts, and that
Did you say
what we
nigga?
see is just a part of it. Yeah.
yeah,
There
exactly.
could be other parts, and then talked about emotional states, and then like problem solving states and shit like that.
What?
Yeah. So like let's say the state I'm arguing for is the problem solving state, and then the emotional states just can't these aren't infinite.
Well, we don't need an example, bro. Calm down.
What?
Exactly.
Listen, if that's what you
Zero.
said, bro, then I'm thinking Tokyo One, bro. Like
You said what?
I said, if that's what you said, I'm thinking Tokyo One, bro.
Did you say that during the
Ah,
debate? Or are you trying to give
fellow.
Are you trying to give an example now to explain to the judges,
No,
bro?
I'm giving an example of a second point, but did he get past the second
I
point?
don't think you just answered the question, bro.
I believe he did say this in the
He
He
debate.
did
just
say
said
the
he was giving an
emotional
example.
parts and problem solving, saying is that one part could be infinite while the other isn't. But what's that shit called? I don't see how to address that. Whatever the fuck that like contradiction shit Tokyo brought up
How do you
about the mind being infinite. It's like, what does that do for you?
no okay, wait, hold on. The mind being infinite. Okay, what is he
Yeah, I
questioning?
was gonna say if
Like,
you say one part is infinite while the other parts can be finite or whatever, that doesn't address how.
no. I'm not.
If you're saying he has an infinite mind and the mind is material, then he would have
No,
an
I'm
infinite
not.
mind.
No. The
You're
other
just basically
point.
repeating that he has an
The
infinite
other
mind.
point. The other point was just the second point was just still man, bro.
What?
What second
But
point?
I ain't gonna lie, it's a contradiction because there's supposed to be infinite knowledge contained in an infinite or a finite set. How did you respond to that, bro? If you say that, well, specific person of mind can be infinite while others are finite, that's just repeating that the mind.
It's
Hold on, that's
it's
just
it's the
repeating
it's
that
the
thing,
first point. It's the first point, bro.
bro. Bro. Okay, so the first point I'm assuming was, well, it has to be an infinite mind because it contains infinite knowledge. The statement's true, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and I believe that Tokyo's point will only go through if he questions it, whether or rather than saying it's just a contradiction, therefore it's wrong.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. So just to make sure, just so like direct, what I'm saying is a contradiction is him having a finite mind and having
Bro, you
infinite
know, bro. I
knowledge.
just said that. Bro.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to make sure because I don't fucking lose that point just because
Yeah,
I
I
have
know
it.
we
Wait,
got
okay.
people like Mono who can't track. Yeah, I agree.
How did the point
What?
about it being a contradiction get justified? I'm confused.
Okay, no, the entire point is that look,